Today we'll take a look at the Tippmann Empire Basics 48 CI 3000 PSI paintball tank. So the first thing I always look for on here is there any damage on here? And this one is in perfect condition, which is great. The nozzle, everything on here looks fantastic. See, it does have a proper gauge on here, so this is by 1,000, so that means 1 is 1,000 PSI. So this gauge can read all the way up to 5,000 PSI, even though you want to keep it at 3,000 or below. This is an aluminum tank. It's designed for 3,000 PSI. If you overpressurize it, you could cause a problem. You can see it has all the proper markings to make sure that everything was constructed properly. And we have our fill port. And I do like that they put a rubber cap on there, so that's nice. We have a 5,000 PSI unified burst disc, and on the other side we have an 1,800 PSI unified burst disc. So in the event for some reason this thing becomes overpressurized, it's going to blow this instead of blowing up the tank. Even with that, you should always be very careful with these things because this is a highly pressurized tank. You don't want to just be beating this thing up. All these tanks should have these markings on here to tell you everything about this tank. We can see it is a 5/8/18 UNF threading, so that's just threading on the top. And we can see on here it was built in January of 2022. So this is all aluminum, so it's going to be slightly heavier than some of the other really high-end tanks, but really for the price you can't beat it. This is a fantastic tank, and it's not really that heavy. So let's go ahead and pressurize it and see how it holds up. I want to make sure we got a good connection onto our coupler. There we go. So it pushed all the way on. If it was off a little bit like this, it's not all the way on. We got to make sure it is completely, fully seated. Okay. Right now we are just passing 1,500 PSI. That's 1.5. You want to make sure you're keeping an eye on the gauge on the bottle as well as that gauge, because if they're off, we don't want to overpressurize anything. Just hitting 2,000 PSI. So far everything looks good. All right. Cool. 3,000 PSI, we had the same reading on the gauge on there. So I know that we are accurate on both gauges, so that's excellent. Now that we're depressurized, we can pop this guy off, and we are ready to go. So overall, that is a fantastic tank.